The group of 6 monks talked with a mouthful in the mouth. This is Buddhist Books Podcast, episode 154, Tipitaka, part 87, in which I will recite Sekya Dhamma 41 through 50. So these are the rules of etiquette, the wrongdoing, the lowest level of crime when you're a monk in Buddha's original order, or in a traditional Theravada order after Lord Buddha. I'm not sure how much these rules translate to the different forms of Buddhism that developed later, like Mahayana and Vajrayana, but no doubt we will find out as we read all of these books over the next couple decades or so. If this is your first time seeing me, you may want to click right here. That will take you to the Tipitaka playlist. Better to start with Tipitaka Part 1, work your way up to Part 87. Our special guest today, Namgyalma. See, what happened was I had a friend. For those who don't know, I've been living in India for the past 5 years. Moving around here and there. We spent 1.5 years in Goa, and we've spent a month here, a month there in different states. We stayed in Darjeeling and Sikkim pretty recently, but most of that time we've been here in New Delhi. But I'm looking forward to shifting down to Mysore pretty soon. I was a yoga teacher back in California, and I'm looking forward to getting back into that practice, and then once I have my OCI, I will legally be allowed to work in India, and that should be within the next month or two. So anyway, enough about that. Anyway, so my friend from California was visiting India, and so of course I brought him up to MT in North Delhi. There you can see us in front of the temple there. And his name's Wise Cat. Hello, if you're watching. And I really didn't mean to buy a statue, but these things happen. So Namgyalma is also known as Ushnisha Vijaya, which means victorious one with the Ushnisha, which is the oval that is on top of Lord Buddha's head in statues, which signifies enlightenment. She is also called the Crested Ultimate Tara. Namgyalma is a deity for long life and purification. She is also the one who guides wicked souls to get over their wrong deeds, repent, and become enlightened. She is a female bodhisattva, usually white in color, with 3 heads and 8 arms. Each of her faces has a different color. The middle face is white and represents the eradication of disasters. The yellow head on her left, or if you're looking at her, it would be on your right, represents longevity. And the right face, or your left if you're looking at her, represents defeat of evil. She is shown sitting in full lotus posture, or Padmasana, holding a double dorja. See? This basically represents, or one story I've heard about this is in the beginning, if you will, or on that level where there is void, or suchness. For those who say, there is no void, there never was, only suchness. Yeah, okay, calm down, man. So there were these subtle winds coming from the four directions, and over the course of eons, those winds met at some central point. Getting a good thumbnail here, or one with her in it. Sorry, I hope you don't mind this behind-the-scenes stuff. Now you got a thumbnail with. All right, so yeah, this developed in the middle of those four winds, and then became kind of the crux point, the point at which the entire universe, or all universes, was developed, built, grown, evolved. Take your pick. Comment below if you have more to elaborate on that story. I am basically an ignoramus. So she's in her other hand, in her other, like, the hand that's in front of her, she's holding a rope. In her lower right palm is the Varada Mudra. She's doing that mudra with her hand. Her first hand is tilted up, and her second hand is grasping a bow. Her lower left hand is holding a kalasha, or holy pot, with a blooming flower. And in her upper right palm is Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha. See, there he is right there. So, welcome to the family of the statues in my office temple. Moving along now to the 5th division, rules 41 through 50. Starting with 41. At one time, the Enlightened One, the Lord, was staying, by the way, you might have noticed I'm not wearing this today. It stopped working. I don't know what to tell you. It's just not working anymore. So if you see the little pin microphone, it looks like this, and it's 1,300 rupees. Maybe better to spring for the nicer ones. I'll be replacing those soon. But for now, we'll just have to put up with the single microphone. What do you think? Is it better? Is it the same? Is it not as good? At one time, the Enlightened One, the Lord, was staying in Anatta at Savatthi in. See, it's all in 3 dots. I have to fill it in from memory. At Savatthi in Anathapindika's monastery. Now, at that time, the group of 6 monks, kind of appropriate seeing these 6 monks with the Bodhisattva who guides wicked souls toward repentance and eventually enlightenment, so perhaps there's hope for them yet. Anyway, the group of 6 monks opened the door of the face when the mouthful was not brought close. 3 dots. Wow, what's happening there? I think that means chewing with your mouth open, right? Okay. Quote, 3 dots. Quote within quotes. I will not open the door of the face when the mouthful is not brought close. Close? And quote within quotes. Is a training to be observed. End quote. Well, that's an interesting way to put it. Kind of brings the Demigorgon to mind, the door of the face. But I know that's not what they mean. They think they just mean the mouth. Close your trap. Close your mouth hole. One should not open the door of the face when the mouthful is not brought close. Close. They're spelled the same. C-L-O-S-E. Comment below. Whoever out of disrespect opens the door of the face when the mouthful is not brought close, there is an offensive wrongdoing. There is no offense if it is unintentional, if he is not thinking. 3 dots, if he is the first wrongdoer. At one time, the Enlightened One, the Lord, was staying at Savatthi in Anathapindika's monastery. Now, at that time, the group of 6 monks, while eating, put the whole hand into the mouth. 3 dots. quote, three dots, quote within quotes, I will not put the whole hand. How do you, they must have small hands or big mouths. The whole hand into the mouth while eating, end quote within quotes, is a training to be observed, end quote. One should not put the whole hand into the mouth while eating. Whoever out of disrespect puts the whole hand into the mouth while eating, there is an offense of wrongdoing. There is no offense if it is unintentional, three dots, if he is the first wrongdoer. What's within those three dots? Let's remind ourselves here. If he is mad, if there are accidents, if he is ill, if he does not know, if he is not thinking. All right. Next. At one time, the enlightened one, the Lord, was staying at Savatthi in Anathapindika's monastery. Now, at that time, the group of 6 monks talked with a mouthful in the mouth. A lot of people who could hear these rules today, I think, right? It's interesting that 2,600 years ago you weren't supposed to chew with your mouth open or talk with your mouth full. Yet so many. Anyway, three dots. Quote, three dots. Quote within quotes, I will not talk with a mouthful in the mouth, end quote within quotes, is a training to be observed. End quote. One should not talk with a mouthful in the mouth. Whoever out of disrespect talks with a mouthful in the mouth, there is an offense of wrongdoing. I think if they had had chewing gum back then this would have been on the list too. There is no offense if it is unintentional, three dots. If he is ill, if he is not thinking, if there are accidents, if he is the first wrongdoer. Next. At one time, the enlightened one, the Lord, was staying at Savatthi in Anathapindika's monastery. Now at that time, the group of 6 monks ate tossing up balls, parentheses, of food, end parentheses, three dots, quote, three dots, quote within quotes, I will not eat tossing up balls, parentheses, of food, end parentheses, end quote within quotes, is a training to be observed, end quote. One should not eat tossing up balls, parentheses, of food, end parentheses. Whoever out of disrespect eats tossing up balls, parentheses, of food, end parentheses, there is an offense of wrongdoing. There is no offense if it is unintentional, if he is not thinking, if he does not know, if he is ill, if they are solid victuals, all sorts of fruits, if there are accidents, if he is mad, if he is the first wrongdoer. So, if you're eating curry, and you ball some of the curry up, and you toss it up into the air, and it goes, and then they say, hey, that's a wrongdoing, and you say, oh, I wasn't thinking, or, oh, sorry, I'm ill. That's fine. Or, if it's fruit, you're tossing fruit up in the air. That's fine. You can eat, throw in your apple. Did they have apples? Anyway. All right. That's the rule. At one time, the enlightened one, the Lord, was staying at Savatthi in Anathapindika's monastery. Now, at that time, the group of 6 monks ate, breaking up the mouthfuls. What do they mean by that? Chewing? Surely not. Everyone chews, right? Let's see. Kahalavache.com. Dividing the mouthfuls, parentheses, into small parts, end parentheses. You don't need to put parentheses in the footnote, guys. Probably with the fingers and not parentheses, or quote, nibbling at, end quote. So chewing and then kind of like putting your finger in your mouth and like breaking it up into smaller pieces. Okay, all right. That's a rule. Quote within quotes, or quote, three dots, quote within quotes. I will not eat breaking up the mouthfuls, and quote within quotes, is a training to be observed, end quote. One should not eat breaking up the mouthfuls. Whoever out of disrespect eats breaking up the mouthfuls, there is an offensive wrongdoing. There is no offense if it is unintentional, if he is not thinking, if he does not know, if he is ill, if they are solid victuals, if they are fruits, dainties, if there are accidents, if he is mad, if he is the first wrongdoer. So if you see a monk in the ancient order of Buddhas, right, putting their finger in their mouth to break it up, and you say, hey, that's a rule, and they can say, it's a dainty. I'm eating a dainty. Editor Edward, it's been a while since we've been saying dainties. I assume I'm visualizing some kind of like small candy, small sweet, or like a miniature pie, or like I'm thinking of doily. What is a dainty in this context?
A dainty is something good to eat, a delicacy.
Well, all right. We all learned something today, didn't we? Or did we? I really wouldn't know. Okay. At one time, the enlightened one, the Lord, was staying at Savatthi in Anathapindika's monastery. Now, at that time, the group of 6 monks ate stuffing the cheeks. All right, like a squirrel. 3 dots, quote 3 dots, quote within quotes, I will not eat stuffing the cheeks. Is a training to be observed, end quote. I think it's safe to assume from the context here we're talking about the cheeks on the face. One should not eat stuffing the cheeks. Whoever out of disrespect eats, that'd be a different rule if you're stuffing. Having stuffed the cheek on one side or on both, there is an offensive wrongdoing. There is no offense if it is unintentional, if he is not thinking, if he does not know, if he is ill, if they are all sorts of fruits, if there are accidents, if he is mad, if he is the first wrongdoer. At one time, the enlightened one, the Lord, was staying at Savatthi in Anathapindika's monastery. Now at that time, the group of 6 monks ate, shaking the hands about. 3 dots, quote, 3 dots. That's kind of fun to visualize. An odd thing to do. Quote within quotes, I will not eat shaking the hands about. Oh, maybe because it was spicy? They're like, something like that, because it was spicy, right? Whoever out of disrespect eats shaking the hands about, there is an offensive wrongdoing. There is no offense if it is unintentional, if he is not thinking, if he does not know, if he is ill, if he shakes the hands about to get rid of the crumbs, if there are accidents, if he is mad, if he is the first wrongdoer. All right, so you can be eating and be like, someone says, hey, you're breaking Sekya Dhamma number 47. You say, no, there were crumbs. It was getting rid of the crumbs. Plus I'm ill, and I'm mad, and there were accidents. At one time, the enlightened one, the Lord, was staying at Savatthi in Anathapindika's monastery. Now at that time, the group of 6 monks ate, scattering lumps of boiled rice. 3 dots. Quote 3 dots. Quote within quotes, I will not eat scattering lumps of boiled rice, is a training to be observed. End quote. One should not eat scattering lumps of boiled rice. Whoever out of disrespect eats scattering lumps of boiled rice, there is an offense of wrongdoing. There is no offense if it is unintentional, if he is not thinking, if he does not know, if he is ill, if getting rid of the crumbs, a lump of boiled rice is got rid of, if there are accidents, if he is mad, if he is the first wrongdoer. At one time, the enlightened one, the Lord, was staying in Anathapindika's monastery at Savatthi in Anathapindika, At that time, the group of 6 monks ate, putting out their tongues. Three dots, quote, three dots, quote within quotes, I will not eat putting out the tongue. Is a training to be observed, end quote. One should not eat putting out the tongue. Three dots, offense of wrongdoing. There is no offense if it is unintentional. Three dots, if he is the first wrongdoer. Three dots in Anathapindika's monastery. Now at that time, the group of 6 monks ate smacking the lips. Yes, I think that this should be upgraded to Parajika personally, but Sekyadama, it works. Three dots, quote, three dots, quote within quotes, I will not eat smacking the lips, and quote within quotes, is a training to be observed, end quote. One should not eat smacking the lips, three dots, if he is the first wrongdoer. The fifth division, that on the mouthful. I agree with these rules. Longtime viewers will already know that there were some rules in the past that I did not agree with for one reason or another, but these rules, not just by monks, but I think that humans everywhere should be kicked out of Buddha's order no, not kicked out. What is the penalty for a wrongdoing? Just someone says you did a wrongdoing? Is someone keeping track, keeping score? Maybe they'll explain later. The punishment for a wrongdoing is a slap on the wrist. The punishment for whatever is this and that. The first few levels, the treason, high felony, there was like the public shaming crimes where everybody has a formal meeting and you have to admit that you did it. The confession, where you have to say out loud that you did it to someone. But yeah, these are the wrongdoings, just like, hey, knock it off. Okay, so if you're looking for enlightenment, I apologize, you came to the wrong channel. If you're looking for how to be a Buddhist in the modern age, again, I apologize, you've come to the wrong channel. This is the channel where I read the old rules for the monks 2,600 years ago that everybody pretty much universally says that you can skip and move on to the second basket. Well, I'm here to read them to you, in case you were curious. So, that concludes episode 154, and I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you're staying warm if you're in the northern hemisphere, and cool if you're in the southern hemisphere. If you're into science fiction, feel free to check out my most recent episode of the Multiverse Cartographer video series. It's called Roswell 1947 and Timelines. Okay, I guess that's about it. Special thanks to our special guest, Namgyal Ma. Oh, that's also, Namgyal is the name of the Dalai Lama's temple in Dharamshala. And, I had assumed that Dharamshala was the home of the Dalai Lama after he left Tibet in 1959. But that temple apparently was established by the second Dalai Lama in the 1500s, although it had a different name at that time. All right. Thanks again. I'll go ahead and close with the usual prayer. To the north and to the south, to the east and to the west, to the spirits of light among us and to the spirits below, we send out our reverent love and compassion. May all beings be happy. May all beings be serene. May all beings be in peace. Until next time.